official ones, but so this is my pre-podcast podcast.
The pre-podcast, the setup podcast.
John.
Do we have anyone watching?
Hey, y'all! Thanks for tuning in. So I lost my voice this
We're
weekend.
live, by the way, as well.
Oh, we're live.
Yes,
Hey.
we are. We're live in two spots, so hello. All right.
Hi, how's it look on camera, John?
Do you want to put that over here so you can also read the comments as well? While we're
Yeah.
doing that? So
Well,
they'll be able to hear me as well. So. All right. So the stream is lagging a tad bit, but we can still see you pretty well. All right. So what are we starting with today?
so I lost my voice this weekend. It's kind of a crazy story. Hey, so I was in East Hampton, and I was, I was staying at a hotel. Wait, no, it wasn't the weekend. It was the week. Felt like the weekend for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I was with a good friend. But anyways, and I stayed at a hotel by myself, and I was in this crazy. Well, I just like woke up to the most piercing sound of my entire life. Well, I just the loudest fire alarm I've ever heard before. Louder, worse than a fire truck or ambulance. Louder than anything I've heard, and it just took me by such shock. I thought I was being attacked, so I just screamed. I just instinctively screamed at the top of my lungs and sprinted out the door and could hear it out of the I think it was called the Mason House is the name of the I'm such a visual person, so y'all know. I struggle with remembering names. I'm actually late to this very podcast because I this place isn't the outdoors of this location is not a very visual place.
Yeah,
So
we have yet to put a sign up.
so I put in this address in my texts. I hadn't saved it in my Google Maps, but so I just like copied and pasted and assumed. But anyways, now we're here right now. Gonna talk about some like aliens.
Alien sightings.
um, what do you like about aliens?
Well, what are aliens? They're from other planets, or are they people who are from other places?
I think they well that opens up a whole new
Mm-hmm.
concept of life.
Very
Like
true.
our so that makes me wonder if there are places with life that aren't planets, and what would they be? What would
Well, you want to know a really crazy mind fucking kind of thought?
yeah, mind fucking me.
Okay.
No,
yeah,
no,
okay.
no.
Let me eat a dinner first.
No, 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 no.
So, if you look at if you look at humanity on Earth or life on Earth, do you know what it's based off of, like the actual element?
The element
The element of what life on Earth is based off of. Do you know what it is?
some there's some kind of explosion that
No, it's carbon. It's carbon-based life forms, right? Hypothetically, because I've spoken to like old teachers of mine and other scientists that I've known over the years, you can have iron-based life forms, you can have gold-based life forms, depending on whatever the abundance of resources on
this
the
is
planet.
so interesting and so great. What you're saying, I hope you're being heard.
Let me sit down with you. Closer. Yeah. So
And
scooch over. So years ago, I asked the teacher. I was like, we're carbon-based life forms because carbon is the most abundant resource on Earth. And if you think about it, I asked him. I asked him like, what if there was like an iron-based planet or like a gold-based planet or like any other sort of element as well? Um, is it possible that those life forms on those other planets, if there are any, would be based off of those elements as it is? That and then he says absolutely, it's just we haven't discovered anything like that. But if whatever is in abundance on that planet is most likely going to contribute to the actual life forms that are able to be born or whatever the case is, exist and all that kind of stuff. Um, so that is like in a way answering your question.
I've heard it. I've heard about this. This I think this is a great like thing. You know, the back and forth thing. I think we should keep doing that. Yeah. So where was I when I heard this? I think I was in the natural history. I think I was in the natural history museum, seeing there's this incredible simulation, and it's called World Beyond Ours. I think that's what it's called, and it talks about the Big Bang. I don't know what it is. I can't help it. I'm constantly thinking about like procreation and like how the planets made life. Am I digressing a lot?
I mean, look, man, this is a little bit of a let's just fucking say what's on our minds. That's the artist's way. So, okay. That being said, if you want, so continue your thought though. What were you saying?
So the planet Venus is a planet.
Oh, no fucking shit, dickhead.
So the Vanet, the
Vanet.
Vanet, the Vanet.
The planet.
What it? I kind of like that word. So I'm gonna release a song called Monsters. I'm digressing because I'm having alien awakenings.
Yeah, otherwise known as ADHD. Yeah.
Okay, ADHD comes from aliens.
The A is for alien.
So, where's I going? So, I guess I'll go back a little bit. So, the planet Venus, they said that there used to be, was there more carbon on Venus before something destroyed it? And you know,
Supposedly, I don't want this to be taken as scientific fact, but Venus and Earth were once very closely related, I believe. And then I think there was something where they hit each other. I might be wrong. Either Earth and Venus or Earth and another planet, but I'm pretty sure something happened between the two. Why they're so similar in size. But yeah, continue the thought because you said something about carbon based.
I just thought it was so interesting what I heard about the planet Venus, because they said that it was like a planet that used to have all, or not all, but like so many elements that were conducive to how the elements that would allow us to survive on planet Earth. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. All right. That being said, all right. So let's see. What's the next topic we could discuss today? You said something about Big Bangs. Here's a theory of mine. Do you think in the vastness of space before the Big Bang, let's say like the Big Bang is right here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the vastness of space. Do you believe that there could have been other Big Bangs in other locations? Who knows how far away? And then it creates other universes from that situation. I can see you're getting excited.
I'm getting very excited by the concept. Like I just had an awakening right now. I think the Big Bang created space and Earth and planets, and then like created this room. This room is a bunch of bangs. It's like well, actually, whoever constructed this place, had to like blast off some machinery, some like explosive kind of, like nail guns are kind of explosive, aren't they?
In a way, well, yeah, we need to use nail guns.
I don't know where my mind goes half the time. I feel like I'm being controlled by aliens.
That's the whole point of this whole thing, I'm gonna sit over there because
Yeah, yeah.
buffering a bit. But yeah, all right. So let's go into some more things you were thinking about. So let's look at the topic of today.
Or should we get into the topic? Because
Exactly.
I'm kind of enjoying just like riffing like
Go
this.
and fucking riff it. Go fucking wing it and shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Alright.
so
Sit more in the middle.
actually, no. Let's go to my topic
Okay.
because I'm just like riffing it, you know, by myself right now, and I'm kind of out of riffs.
Okay.
So,
You got your little tism out and now you're good.
so I thought of the I really truly believe. Gonna, this is like a strong word, but I think it's I wouldn't take it literally and say like, oh, I'm all fucked up and I'm all this and that. Well, we are all like fucked up by like we're born and then we get like fucked up as we like go through life through trauma. And when I say trauma, I don't mean that your like arm was like blasted off by dynamite, but like when I say trauma, it's like it could be something. Well, I'll get into my trauma. I actually I think I'm actually on my way over it right now because I feel like I can smile and kind of like laugh about it. But I had a really shitty nanny when I was really little. Her name was Susan. I wrote a song about it. It's called Goodbye Susan. You can listen to it on Spotify. And and she was a total bitch to me. Total like just she I have a lot of phobias today that I'm like getting over. One of them is lightning that I mentioned in the song. And she used to she was like physically abusive, but also like I would I'd get in trouble for acting out at school or whatever. And instead of a healthy natural consequence, it feels funny for me to be saying like, oh, I know what my consequence should be, but like she would I used to I knew I was an artist. I knew it when I was like 5 years old or six or whatever. I used to have an obsession with drawing airplanes, and I used to hang them up all over my walls. And if I misbehaved at school or whatever, she'd come into my room and she'd rip them all up, scold me for it. And then also, I still have the obsession and desire for nature. And I used to go and collect, it was a weekend ritual, go out into my woods when I go out to New Jersey, collect leaves, put them in books. And I felt like very like proud of these like things. It just felt like nurturing to me. And I I really feel like I think the school system's all fucked. Like if you like get in trouble for like misbehaving, they put you in detention. Like I mean they put you in a room where you're supposed to just sit. Like sit on your ass and do nothing. Like how does that get you anywhere through life? And like but where was I going with this? I don't know. The aliens they so there's like an alien force that goes into your brain, and it's the ADHD alien. Like my friend John over there said, it's getting me right now. But well, actually,
Fucking aliens.
wait, you say it.
What happened?
I say those fucking aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but anyways, she used to rip up my artwork. She used to rip up my drawings. She used to, and it just made me feel this deep, resentment and like a need to like act up and misbehave. The like scolding, the like over the top scolding, the like overly harsh punishments. I think they kind of made me not the best person at times, and I'm still trying to be better because of that like resentment of having held on to that. It's so complex, the human condition. I find it so fascinating itself. I'm trying to remember my thought. You want to get in here, John? Yeah, John's yeah, yeah. We're I'm trying to get my I'm trying to recover my train of thought. Um, my nanny Susan is one of my life traumas, and I'm trying to. I I haven't seen her in like since I was in like elementary school before, long time ago. But like what it's really you know made me afraid to do is have my own voice, and I feel like I'm starting to have it more today. I think. Yeah, my lost voice is working. As funny as that is to say. Well, actually, I just had a thought right here, but I want to hear what you before I. So I think perhaps maybe the reason why I screamed when I heard a fire alarm go off this weekend was because you know my nanny used to say I used to just as a curious like kid like I'd see lightning and I'd be like, "Whoa, this is so cool! I want to go out and like touch it. Like that would be fun. Like let's go see it." Like instead of like and use come up like she would actually scold me and tell me instead of like trying to educate me in a playful kind of like way, which is how I sort of like function, which is very much how I function, I think. She would say, "Well, if you go outside, I remember this. I don't remember the exact words, but like I interpreted that if you go outside when there is lightning, are if one of your limbs is out the window and a lightning bolt goes off, you're dead." I believe that for a longer time than most people like my age would believe, and so that itself has made me terrified of lightning. I if there's a lightning bolt out outside after this is over. Unfortunately, my friend John is gonna be it's gonna be late to his next appointment. And I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think it's hmm. You give that some thought. Well, I love like all animals and stuff. I really it's funny because there's that lyric about spiders from Mars and Ziggy Stardust. I love like being able to sit and imagine these like creepy things, but in real life, if I saw like eight when I see like eight limbs in real life, I like I get squeamish. I run away. Um, I actually I don't well actually I have screamed, but probably not as loud as I screamed when I heard the loudest fire alarm of my life. Yeah, you nailed it. It yeah. I actually when the fire alarm went off, I don't know why, but it was funny. I was like something's attacking us. Like, what the hell is this? Like, this is terrible. It was actually, you know what it was? I think the alien somehow, I think when you like hear loud noises and like other people might just be, their ears might hurt. They hurt so badly. Other people might actually um just be like, "Oh fuck, my ears hurt." Like I was like, "Oh fuck, my ears hurt," and like, "Fuck, we're all gonna die." Like there, I had that until I stepped outside. I was like, "Okay, okay, glad I'm actually." When I like got down the stairs, I knew that I knew that it was like, okay, it's probably a false alarm. It's fine. It's all good. You know what? And now while we're on the topic of spiders, so this is so hilarious. So when I step outside, and then like a cop drives by, and you could like hear the sound like across the whole town. And he like called in, like the cop that drove by, I think, called the cops, and they came, and then so now the fire department comes in, and this just like cracked me up. He's like must have been, and I'm trying to remember, how did he say this? He was like, it was an excited spider got into made a web and got into the buzzer, something like that. I come back here, and because yeah, yeah. So I just said excited spider, and for some reason, like, John, do you when you listen to you've listened to Ziggy Stardust? Very little. I guess but like, I'll just say that there's that lyric about spiders from Mars. Mars, isn't that like an angry, or not angry, but it's like a hot energy kind of cold. Yeah. So he said that it looks yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I just like trying to think of how to say this, but the spider, like an excited spider. When I think of like Mars energy, think of like, yeah, let's like fucking go after this shit, like kind of like I I feel like I I kind of, I don't know. It's so funny to say this. I feel like I'm rolling with my like lost voice, and it's like I just feel like I have this like persona today. Maybe, but here we are right now talking about spiders from Mars and aliens, spiders from Mars, spiders on Earth. Spiders, and the spiders from Mars. As he played it left hand, I'm gonna learn that song. Do we have any David Bowie fans here? I just love the I really he said something. So we're talking about like trauma. I think he had some like trauma too, and I think he dealt with it in, you know, kind of. Do you think like, I think David Bowie may have like dealt with his trauma in like pretty good way. What do you think, John? I Yeah. He said in his documentary of Moon Age Stardust, and y'all should, fact check this because I may misphrase it, but he was like, he basically, from what I understand, he said that he loves to go deeper, deeper into his own abyss, and he has this like desire and passion and excitement to like explore, do things he's like terrified of, basically, like, you know, dig up the, some would, some gurus or whatever would call that shadow work. I think that's what it is. He said that he like deep feelings of loneliness show up in his work, but he doesn't really feel that way in real life. You know, I'm actually talking about this shit and like feeling, pretty good. So like, I think that's what he means.
Okay, cool. Now that being said, with his story, how do you apply that to your life and the trauma you've dealt with?
How do I apply that to my trauma in the life I've dealt with? I how does it look with me holding John? How do
You're good. You're good.
I for me? So I'm doing this like very intense vocal training, which is actually, so I'm actually a timid person, whether you believe it or not, and have always been my whole life, and I think I'm on my way over it, kind of. Well, actually, I think I've come a long way, actually. Um, Wait, where was I going with this? Trauma and I wanted to say something, but it was an alien snatched it away from me.
About the trauma and the life that you lead right now.
This is why the
Damn it.
damn it aliens.
I see.
I mean, I'm gonna take off my,
No, you're good.
I'm taking off my boots right now
These
because
aren't your sneakers, by the way, are they?
no, those are my sneakers. You know what it is like we're holding on to shit. I'm holding on to my boots on my foot. Like, fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit. Get rid of everything. Keep the clothes on
Oh,
though.
yeah, no, I'm taking it all.
No shit. Anyways,
I I just love the music of David Bowie and females only.
the best two things, the only things we need in life.
To be clear, for those of you who don't know me. So, um, wow, I'm like saying so much shit that I like wouldn't have said before because of I'm releasing the trauma. Um, you wanna you doing your thing? Uh, trauma. Trauma is all good when it you let it go. I said trauma is all good when you let it go.
Exactly. Did you know? Well, what is your okay? On the topic of trauma, what is your idea of forgiveness?
On the topic of trauma, my idea for forgiveness. Hmm. I think actually what it really is like knowing your inner life. Like really knowing that like you knowing that like whatever it was in you, you know that you learned a lesson without external validation. I think that's what it really is. Like you just know it.
And what is your thoughts of? Do you think that okay? This is going on the topic of forgiveness from trauma. Do you think that forgiveness can mend and fix trauma, or do you think
Hmm. You know, I this is where I maybe some of my trauma comes in because and I'm actually this is a challenge for me to say this and I'm gonna say it. I think if you like actually like killed someone, the first thing that my friend John over there said, like, can you repeat that again?
Do you think that trauma? Do you think that forgiveness is easy? Do you think that it mends the trauma, or do you think it's better to leave it as it is?
I don't think forgiveness is necessarily easy because everyone's like different and some everything has its own stakes and different weights to it. Um, what was the other thing?
And do you think that forgiveness can be the answer, or do you think that it's better to just leave it as it is?
I think you know, it depends on the circumstance. Depends on like what it is. Forgiveness sometimes it's better to just say like fuck it. Why am I whatever? This happened like years ago. Why the hell am I bringing it up? Like,
So
and there's that.
would you forgive your old nanny if you were to see her?
Hmm.
Tough
Would
question.
I forgive my
Tough
old?
question, right?
Well, actually, I know what I'm gonna say. If she apologized to me, if my old nanny apologized to me, I would forgive her. If she didn't apologize, if I ran into her and she had an attitude with me, I would say, "Go fuck yourself."
True. You know. So, but I'm sure everyone is adults, and maybe there would be some sort of situation.
Everything and everyone is every situation and circumstance has its own gravity to it. I think.
Wonderful. So, all right. Do you think coexistence could be achieved through forgiveness?
I think yes, I absolutely think so because
Could you restate the question for the
I
audience?
I absolutely think coexistence can be achieved through forgiveness because how can you coexist when you hold shit against people? Um,
Is there any more thoughts you can go into that with it?
I think we all actually I think what we all need to do is like really know our own internal um reasons for everything so that we because you have to understand your internal life before you can fully understand your external life.
Interesting. Interesting. We got about 5 minutes left. If that's good with you, because I gotta get going.
5 minutes is great.
Yeah. So
Wait, we got 5 minutes left on the podcast.
let's get some. See, what are some final thoughts you want to wrap up on for today?
Final thoughts. What were we talking about earlier?
So we started off with trauma, and well, if we really want to go back, we were talking about like deep space, like Mars, and like life forms and the things that they're based off of.
We were talking about Mars life forms and the things
That life is based off of.
that life is based off. Wow, that just like makes me think about how this is so. This reminded me of how I recently started, feeling like shit about like killing bugs as a kid because like life is so amazing and large and expansive and it's like all about perspective. I really I know I can forgive myself there because I didn't have the consciousness then. Um, I think we, I think we just like, I think actually it's a great thing to like try to understand. This is why a nanny should never rip up your artwork if you get in trouble, especially as a kid. If you and scold you for it too, and tell you make up lies about like how blow things way out of proportion on purpose. Think I would say I can, forgive myself for doing that to other people because I know why I did it, and I know that like now that I understand it, it's like I can fuck it. We're 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 in a nice room right now. It's kind of it's actually kind of nice right now in this room. Yeah. Yes. My final thought for all of you out there watching and anybody who just if you can spread this to anyone, I would say try to really so much it's so hard to do, but I would challenge you to try to really and like I'm far from like far from doing this the right way. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, but like try really hard to know yourself. That's what I would say. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Soon we'll have a specific time reoccurring every week, and we'll have the everything figured out. And we'll see you in the next Alien Awakening.